Thanks for joining us this evening. Welcome. I'm Natalie from the Education Liaison team. I'm joined by my colleague here, Ife. And tonight what we're going to be doing is giving a talk on how to apply and Ucas. Throughout this presentation, there will be Q&A, so you are able to use that, but your mics are muted. So any questions you have, if you put it in the Q&A function, then we will answer all of the questions at the end. Okay? Thank you. So what is Ucas and how to apply to university? Not sure what you guys understand about that. Just put it in the chat. Do you understand what Ucas is? Do you want to apply for 2022? If you can put that in there, that would be great. Yes, is for 2022 or 2021. Just to give us an idea of what who the audience are and what we are going to discuss. And by the end of this session, what you're going to know is you're going to understand what Ucas is, be able to create a Ucas hub account, understand how to apply and start your application, know what the deadlines mean and when they are and when to submit your application, and how to track your application and reply to offers. If you have any questions, as I've said, if you put it in the Q&A, we will be able to answer it at the end.
Okay, so what is Ucas? So Ucas stands for Universities and Colleges Admissions Service. And through Ucas, you can do a lot of things, but the main things we'll say is choose from 395 universities and colleges. You can search for courses, more than 50,000, which is a lot. Check the entry requirements and deadlines, for all your courses listed. And then most importantly, choose and apply for up to 5 courses.
Thank you. So registering in the Ucas Hub. So these are the things, once you register in and get yourself a Ucas Hub account, you can explore your careers, you can look at the subjects, you can look at the universities, you can look at the over 50,000 courses that Ife's just spoken about. There is lots of information about apprenticeships, when virtual tours are happening, all the online events that are happening right now, or face-to-face, all of this information will be in Ucas. You can use something called Unibody, which is a platform where it's usually students that are currently studying a course at university, where you can ask information and they will be able to help you with whatever your questions are about. There are live sessions, there's lots of information about job profiles, and it's where now you start your 2022 application.
Okay, so register to get your Ucas Hub account. It's really easy. All you'll need to do is complete the short form and make sure that you remember the password, as this will get you into access the whole of the Ucas application forms. And then once you have completed that short form, you will then be onto the Ucas form and make sure that you select the year that is applicable to yourself. So if you want to start in 2022, make sure that that bit is ticked. If it's a different year, make sure that's also ticked.
On that note, if there is anyone here for 2021, Ucas is still open and shuts on the 30th of June, then it goes into clearing. So you can still make an application for 2021 as well right now. So let's get started. If you are applying with Ucas with your school or college will have a buzzword. So it's important that you know what that buzzword is so that you can match your application to your school, because your school or college will be the guys that will check your application for you and submit it for you to Ucas. So, but if you're applying as an individual, then you won't have a buzzword. So you need to just get started, really. This is where you get started. And if you have your school or college, ensure that you've got your buzzword. And that's where you'll be asked for that information. And you will be asked to verify your email address. When using an email address, I would suggest that you use an email address that you will still have access to after you've left college or school next year, because all of the information will come via an email address to you.
Okay, so starting your Ucas application. Here on the screen are all the different sections that will need to be filled out. And yes, it does look like a lot. However, you don't need to just sit it in one go. So our advice is to split it up. Don't just sit there and complete it all in one day, because it will get quite like tiring and draining. But if you split up your time and do some sections in different days, that should be really helpful. Another tip we will say is make sure you have all the information ready to hand. It makes filling the application even easier. So your passport, dates of education, your qualifications, as well as some of the exam board names as well, just so that as soon as you're on the Ucas application website, filling it out is just so much easier.
Thank you. So then you move on to your choices. As I've just mentioned right at the start of this, if you start your research early, by the time you start to complete your Ucas form, you will know what your choices are. On Ucas, you get 5 choices. You get 4 for medicine and 4 for dentistry or veterinary science. And they will also have slightly different deadlines. But usually you would have 5 choices. You could use 4 choices right at the start, and you can always add a 5th choice to it. Or you can just use the 5 choices all at once. There is no order of preference. No, the universities won't see that. It's just the 5 universities will see it, whoever you select when you're making your application. Make sure that you've got the right course listed, and if it's got campuses, because some universities will have 2 or 3 different campuses, that the course that you're applying for is at the campus you think it's going to be at, and that it's got the start date is correct there as well. So that's all the information that you would need when thinking about your choices.
Okay, your personal statement. So your personal statement is what you use to sell yourself to the universities. And we advise that you complete this in a Word document first, just so that you can check your spelling and your grammar, and then copy and pasting this onto Ucas, so you don't lose anything and you're able to track how much you've written, how much you've got left to do. The maximum is 4,000 characters. When you are writing your personal statement as well. I know we've just got a hand raised, but we can
answer that at the end. What I would say on personal statement is, after this workshop at 5 o'clock tonight, there is a personal statement workshop where you actually get asked what you think of examples and some really great ideas there. So join my colleagues Rosie and Sophie with that later this evening. So once you've completed your Ucas form, then you need to start checking that you have completed them all. They will all the tiles will go green eventually. But as Ife has just said, you don't need to complete this all in one setting. So once you're happy with it, that you've completed as much as you can, if they've got all the information that you need, then it should go green there. That's what it will look like.
Okay, so there are 4 steps to the submission process, which is choosing your choices, completing all the details on your profile, uploading your personal statement, and then submitting it. So your application must be complete, showing 100%, which is the picture at the bottom, the green, before you press submit. So once you see that your application status is green, 100%, and you are confident with everything you've written on your application, you just press submit, and then the next bit, which Natalie will go through.
Okay, so once you've submitted or just about to submit, if you're linked to a school or college, you will have been given instructions whether you have to pay your school or college or whether you have to put your card details in here to pay. The payment that Ucas asks for is £26.50 for 5 choices. So it's important that you know, if you're submitting it via your school or college, whether you're giving the money to them or whether you're putting your payment details in here to submit it. And then once you're happy with that, then you accept and proceed. But some schools or colleges may make the payment for you and pay it for you as well as part of the process. I don't know, all schools or colleges are slightly different here. So you just need to check that information. And then once you're happy with that, then you accept and proceed, which will then, if you're linked to your school or college, or even as an individual, it will go off. They will start to request references for you then at that point.
decisions. So to decide if you're suitable for the course, universities will look at your personal statement, your qualifications, and your references to make their decision on whether or not you should be attending their university. Depending on what course you have chosen to study and you have applied for, they might also ask for an admissions test, an interview, portfolio, or an audition. So with all these three, it's mostly for an admissions test, maybe some sort of like healthcare course, such as like nursing. This could also be asked for an interview. And then for a portfolio or audition, it might be more creative subjects like drama, performing arts, or dance.
Thank you. So then once you've submitted your application, then you have the chance to track your application. So you can check, it's open 24/7. So for all the time, make sure you've downloaded the Ucas Track app on your mobile devices if you're able to, or on your laptops, and then you'll be able to start tracking your application. So it's just important that you're able to track it. And if anyone's asking for additional information, or they're not quite sure about the qualifications you've listed, they may send you an email, but they will update your track as well. So it's just really important that you are looking at it regularly. I would say at least every couple of days when you first submit it, and then towards the deadline, maybe more frequently is what I would say. So you'll receive decisions, whether that be invite for interview, submit a portfolio. Once all of those decisions are made, then your offer choices will come in, which will be an unconditional. It could be an unconditional offer if you've already got your grades. That is, if it's conditional, it could have a conditions attached to it, which could be grades. It could be subject to you passing whatever qualifications you're currently studying, along with DBS for a nursing program or a teaching program, or it could be something else that they're after for the condition. Or if you, for whatever reason, have been unsuccessful at interview, or they don't want to offer you a place, then it will come back as unsuccessful.
Replying to offers. So once you've made your decision on all your courses, you can hold a maximum of 2 offers. So one as a firm, which is your first choice, and then the other as an insurance, which acts as a backup case in case you don't meet your first choice. And then you have to decline all the remaining offers.
So you'll have a firm choice and an insurance choice, which is great. So the other options are, if by at the end you've applied for 5 choices and you have no offers, you can then go into something called Ucas Extra, which opens in February and is open till the beginning of July. So then you could start to add other choices. But what I would say before you get to this point, as soon as you start getting decisions in that you're not getting offers, I would make contact with those universities to see why you're not getting those offers. Is it because you've not listed a particular qualification? Is it something you can put right at that stage? So if for whatever reason it is you're being unsuccessful, I would definitely contact the universities to see where you're at with that. But if you are an extra, then you need to contact the other universities that may offer your course to see if they are taking applications in extra as well. And then if you're by the end of June and then the beginning of July, clearing opens. That usually applies to people that haven't applied in the main cycle, or it could be somebody that's waiting for their grades in August, where they don't get their grades and they then enter clearing. Clearing is, well, it's going to open later this week, and there'll be a full list of courses available for 2021 entry. Some people see clearing as something that is quite negative, but actually it could be that you've changed your mind, you've done a lot more research, you now want to stay at home, you did really well in your within your A levels, and at that point when you were asked to make an application with your school or college, you wasn't ready to apply for university, but now you are. So there are many reasons why people enter into clearing. each year. And then new last year was Clearing Plus. So if you're in Clearing and for whatever reason you don't get your grades, you don't get your firm choice or your insurance choice, you'll be in Clearing, but you'll also have access to something called Clearing Plus. It's a service that matches you to courses based on your application. So you can then indicate on your Ucas track that you are interested in a particular course at a particular university. They will then contact you direct. So you have the choice to work with Ucas Plus, Clearing Plus, which is, it can be quite, it can help with the research as well. Just ensure that if you are in Clearing that you're doing your research on those universities where you think you may be going, because you may have already done quite a lot of research on the other universities where you was holding offers. Just means you have to work a bit. You have to do the research all in one go, really, rather than over time. So important Ucas deadlines to look at. So if you're applying via a school or college, your school or college will have deadlines. So ensure that you meet them. If they're asking you to start your application quite soon, which a lot of them are, and they say we want them back the second week in October, I'm using this as an example. And the reason they're asking for it back then is because they will need to check all of your application, write you a reference and be able to submit it. And they have to do that for all students. So it's just important that you understand why they're setting the deadlines. If you're applying for a medicine course or veterinary or the Oxbridge guys, then you will have the deadline of the 15th of October. Your school or college will be working with you as well on that. So if you apply as in September, October, you'll be given Ucas equal consideration for your application deadline, which is the 26th of January. So anybody that applies before the 26th of January will get the same equal application deadline. If you apply after that, then that may not stand. What that basically means is if you haven't applied by the 26th of January and you're applying for a course that's very, very popular, which some courses are extremely popular, if you apply after that date, they may not have any spaces available. So that's what you need to think about when you're looking at the equal consideration application deadline. And then the last date for applications before clearing is the end of June, usually. So, and then.
Okay, so in your goodie bag, you will have this Ucas checklist, which is really helpful, helps you track your progress as well as some tips that we have got. And yeah, just use it to your best ability and make the most of it.
Thank you. So it's just a good way of starting to write your notes down,
yeah.
And just ensure that you have got all of the answers that you need. And Ucas has loads and loads of useful information and videos to watch about career pathways, about helping you with your application, all of those things. So make sure you're using all of the tools available to you. So what I would say is start your research early, create your Ucas Hub account now for 2022, and then start having a look around and making your notes. If you download the goodie bag, all of the information that we've given you there, we have all virtual documents that you'll be able to download and start to use those documents. Have you got anything to add there, Ife?
No, that's it.
So don't forget this presentation will be recorded and we will send it to you later. Or if you've got the Zoom link that you've been sent now, it will be on demand and you will be able to see it afterwards. So if you missed something or you want to look at something further, then you will have that information there. So let's have a look at the questions. I've not been in education for a while. Would I need to go back to college, to my school or college for more grades? Yes, if you haven't got your certificates, you will need to go contact your school or college to see if they have the copy, or alternatively you'll need to contact the exam boards for each certificate to get the certificates. To come to university, you have to have you have to prove your qualifications. So you need the certificates, and you will need to list them all on your Ucas application form. Did somebody have their hand raised earlier? Ife.
I did see that, but
okay. How much does GCSEs are level 2 qualifications? They are not counted. They're not counted in tariff points on Ucas. But a lot of professional programs will ask for GCSE grade 4 or grade C in English and maths, and maybe science as well there. So do I be now? How many points? With the points, if you go to our website, we will tell you how many Ucas points we will want for each of the programs. Each program is different, and that includes for the International Baccalaureate as well. Actually, really important for conservation uni. They are important because they need to see that you're well-rounded, that you are able to have you've done extracurriculum activity as well as studying at the same time. And especially, again, if you're applying for a professional program, you'll be able to use great examples at interview where you've done teamwork, where you've done whatever it may be, your communication skills, all those types of things. Yes, this live stream is recorded and you can watch it back afterwards. How many should be minimum to get into work to when each university will be differently. We will ask for a minimum of 3 A levels that you for your A level. Would your GCSE grades affect if you choose? Your GCSE grades, they will affect your decision being made, because, for instance, it could be, if you're applying for a course, that you have to have English, maths and science at grade 4 or grade C or above. If you haven't got those, then they will recommend that you go and get your level 2 qualifications. Would EPQ help? Yes, an EPQ is tariff based as long as it's the level 3. If you go to the Ucas tariff, it will tell you how many points it will be worth. How would studying and having a child level, what would be better to do a full-time course? It depends on what course you're applying for. Is it a professional program like teaching or nursing, or is it a business course? What type of course is it you're thinking of applying for? The person that's just asked about having a child. Yeah, if you've got a child and want to study full-time or part-time open university, if they could just answer that question, what type of course they're wanting to apply for. It depends on what type of course you're wanting to apply for, the person that wants to transfer. But what I would recommend that you do is and what course you're applying for, and they will also want, you will have to apply for Ucas, but they will also want a reference from your current university and want to know why you want to be transferred. Want to do mental health nursing. So that's the person that said they've got a child. Well, with mental health nursing, with any type of nursing program or teaching program, you, as part of your course, you will be on placements. So even as you have to do 2 to 3 placements per year. So it's important that you understand that you'll do 12-hour shift placements, the same as in a hospital setting. So if you've got a child, then you need to ensure that you've got the childcare in place for that. That's what I would say. What questions do I need for nursing? Okay, if you look at our Ucas, we will want, I think it's a BBC A level, or it's about 120 points for nursing, plus your English and maths at grade 4 or C or above. They as long as you've got a 4 or a C or above in both your Englishes, that's fine for our university. Is it possible to change courses after going to uni if you don't like? Depends on what the type of courses you're applying for. Can I do nursing? Yes, you can. You can, as long as if you're studying a different level 3 qualification, for instance, like a BTEC health and social care, the extended diploma, for instance, then we will want a distinction merit in that, plus your GCSEs. And that applies to other courses as well. We will still take, in lieu of if you haven't got A-levels, the BTECs as well, as long as they're level 3. Are there any more questions? Let's have a look.
No, okay, one just came through now.
Oh, I've just finished one. I want to know, what are the requirements for the law course? If you go to our website, you should be able to see that information. Traditionally, we would ask for a BBC, usually A-level for our degree programs. But again, some are slightly more and some are slightly lower than that. But each entry requirements will be listed on the subject web pages. Kind of extra might be available for science courses. For science courses, it depends on what you've done. Have you been part of the science club within your after school curriculum? Have you mentored the younger students maybe that with science? Have you taken part in practical? Have you, those sorts of things is what they're looking at when you're looking at extra curriculum for science courses. It depends. Again, if you're applying for an art and design type course and you've not really studied art and design at level 3, we sometimes would recommend a foundation course, for instance, because that gives you a good foundation and an understanding of art and design, because there's quite a lot of different areas within there. So it is available to UK students if necessary. Younger kids help from application, because it's about how you communicate with them, it's about how you help them, it's about what you've learned from mentoring younger students, and how, if you are currently doing that while you're at school, for instance, that means you're quite trustworthy, because it's not always available to all students to be able to mentor other students. What if someone is not able to get me? Okay, so what they'll do is on results day, they will look at each application individually and a decision will be made. And that applies to all universities with regards to grades. Don't have experience. Again, some people apply for a person that says they may not have experience. I'm not sure. Can you tell me what you're wanting to apply for? Is it the mental health nursing one? If it is for mental health nursing, what they would have expected you to have done if you're wanting to apply for mental health nursing, that you understand what a mental health nurse does and what you're going to bring to it, that you understand, for instance, if you were to get to interview, how you would how you are able to communicate, how you are part of a team, what your transferable skills are. So you may not have any experience with working in a care setting, but for instance, you may have worked in customer service as in the travel industry, or as a in the travel industry, somewhere like the travel industry where you're dealing with the public on a daily basis, how you're able to communicate. Again, it depends on what experience you've got is what they're looking for, really, and how you can relate your work experience to how you think, why you wanted to do mental health nursing, for instance.
And also, it obviously, depending on the year that you're applying for university, if it is 2022, there is some time to pick up some experience as well. So, in the meantime, maybe look for something that you can do.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions?
None anymore. That all been answered. Oh, we got one now.
I'm looking to leave my full-time employment as a security situation, so I work 12 hour days. How could I financially benefit? Okay, depending, the person that's just written that they're looking to go into full-time education and leave their full-time employment is Are you eligible for student finance? Are you eligible if you're applying for a course that may get a bursary every year? If you've got children, if you've got other responsibilities, are there benefits that you could apply for as well? Those are the things you need to start researching now. If you go to student finance, the website, the student finance website, there is a calculator there where you can put all of your personal information in of how much the household income you've got, and it will give you a guide as to how much student finance you will get for the year.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
I think that might be it.
I want to hang on a minute because so is there any more questions from anybody? No? Okay. If we are all done, what do you think, Ife?
Yeah, I think so. We've given them quite a few.
If you've got any more questions, let us know. But our colleagues at 5 o'clock will be running a personal statement workshop. If you want to learn more about personal statement, they will be there and happy to answer your questions about personal statements.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and if you've got any questions, as I say, go to the next workshop and my colleagues will be happy to help you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks everyone, bye.
Bye.